Chris Johnson, aka CJ, and this is CJ's Kitchen. If you're stopping by for the first time, thank you so much. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. I appreciate the support. So today I'm launching a new, well, maybe there's already some videos up for this series, but I decided
we're officially naming it today. We're christening it today.
Christening it. So I've got my good friend Janet here. We've been filming recipes here for a couple months now, and a recurring theme has appeared. So this series is going to be called Sunday Dinners. So today we already did a video on Janet's fabulous buttermilk biscuits, so be sure to look for that. That'll either be up in the iCard or it'll be down below in the description. And we're doing that because I'm making fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
I've been messing with this recipe for years. After a trip to Indiana, one of the things we had there was what they called roasted chicken. And Steven loves it. So we never could find a recipe, an exact recipe for it, but apparently the process is they fry it and then they pop it in a pressure cooker and they finish it off in the pressure cooker, and you get this really, really crispy, delicious, tender, juicy fried chicken.
But we're not using a pressure cooker today.
We're not using a pressure cooker, so the closest thing I could find was a Mennonite recipe in a cookbook that I picked up in Indiana. And I've been playing with it for years. So what I have found is frying it and then baking it covered for a bit, uncovering it partway through, and finishing off the baking comes the closest without a pressure cooker. Because I don't know. I was afraid of a pressure cooker.
Yeah, but now they have these instant pot things.
Yeah,
that...
might be time to jump into the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
So I already have here 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of potato starch. This is one of my newest tweaks to this recipe because in playing with all my chicken wing recipes, I discovered that I really liked how crispy potato starch or cornstarch gets. So if you can't get potato starch at your local grocery store, cornstarch will do the trick. I often do 1 part potato starch to 3 parts of flour, but today I went with half and half, because I wasn't quite satisfied with the level of crunch we were getting. So that'll make it as crispy as I dare go without just doing all potato starch, which you could do. To that I am adding a blend of 13 herbs and spices. 13! That includes salt and pepper and then a whole bunch of other things. So I will list that either on the screen or down below in the description, and I'm going to try to get a blog post up for this. So it's got all kinds of things. There's salt and pepper, thyme, basil, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder,
mustard,
paprika.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Everything but the kitchen
I'll list
sink.
it for you. So I'm just going to work that in. So there's a recipe floating around that is supposed to be Colonel Sanders' 11 herbs and spices in their exact quantities. And I got to tell you, when I tried that, it just didn't hit the taste for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm not trying to recreate that, but I do want a very flavorful coating on my chicken. So this is where I've landed after playing with that blend of herbs and spices.
Let me stir that.
So I've just kind of stirred that up. So I've already been soaking my chicken. I have a whole fryer here that I had them cut into 8 pieces at the grocery store. Sadly, do you know they never carry a whole cut fryer at the store anymore? Grocery stores, bring back our whole fryer. Anyway, so
only 8 pieces. What are you gonna eat?
Right. So I just picked out a whole chicken and took it to the meat counter, and they'll cut it up for you. So don't be afraid to ask.
Make friends with your local butcher meat counter guy.
Yes, they're quick. They're really quick. So there is 1 cup of buttermilk in here, 1 beaten egg, and a couple dashes of hot sauce. And again, I just found it was a great way to get a lot of flavor into that coating. And that buttermilk's gonna make your chicken really tender
and tangy
without cooking it like lemon juice or something really, really acidic like vinegar would do. It has just enough acid to do that while still leaving you with a nice tender chicken. So a tip I picked up on a cooking show a few years ago you take some of this buttermilk and you drizzle it into your flour, and you stir your flour around so it's in little pea-sized bits, or you know, it's going to be kind of just little chunks. And that'll get you your really extra crispy coating. And then what I found is that the egg really helps keep that coating with the chicken when you bread it. The other crucial step is to let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes. But I found even when I do that with my chicken wings, it wasn't, a lot of times the coating comes off. So when I saw this egg being used, I tried it and I found that it's really helping with keeping everything on there.
Okay.
So we could probably do more, but I'm not going to. I think that'll be good enough.
Okay, well, I think this is nice and mixed.
Perfect. And it's beautiful. It's just it almost looks like wheat flour at this point from all the spices and things.
And
in
you get
there.
little bits of green.
Yeah,
It's really pretty.
I like that little bit of green from the parsley.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to dredge this chicken in the flour. I like to use tongs because it's so messy. Yeah, and so Janet's just kind of scooping the flour over it. And then we want to make sure to shake it off really well. And then we're going to transfer it to a rack that I buttered and placed over a cookie sheet. And like I said, we're going to let that sit for 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
So that's how you don't end up with a thick coating on your tongs, is by having one for the wet and one for the dry.
Right.
Of course, at this point, I usually get my fingers in there, but
Okay, you said shake it off?
yep.
Turn it over.
So we're going to keep doing that, and then we will we'll come back and join you for the next step.
2 down, 6 to go.
Okay, so the chicken's been sitting with the coating on it for about 30 minutes now. I set the timer for 20 minutes, and then I started heating the oil while it finished up. And it took a bit for the oil to come to temperature. And this is a shallow fry. I've got about a ½ inch of oil in the skillet. So I'm just going to start adding chicken. You want to be careful not to overcrowd your pan. And I'm going to try to put pieces of the similar thickness in. Put a leg in. And we're just going to fry this until it's golden brown on every side. So mostly you'll be able to, if you have the oil deep enough, you'll be able to just flip it once. You may get a few pieces that need some additional turns to get any thick edges. You want to make sure there's a good crispy fried coating all the way around your chicken. You don't want to move it around a lot because you don't want to disturb that coating that you created. You want that to stay put. And then I'm going to transfer these back to the rack so that they can drain before I put them in my baking pan to bake. They're going to bake for about 20 minutes on covered in the oven at 400 degrees, and then we're going to uncover it and bake them for another probably 10 to 20 minutes. My oven's it's set on pure convection, so it goes a little fast sometimes, so I have to kind of keep an eye on it. But for a typical home oven, 20 minutes on each side should be good to get your chicken cooked all the way through. And that's the point of baking it, because it's not going to get fully cooked in a shallow fry like this.
What kind of oil did you use?
So I used peanut oil. I have for years also used corn oil, but lately I've been using a lot of peanut oil. It's flavorless, so you don't have any flavor added to the food from the peanut oil, and it also has a really high smoking point, so it's really great for doing frying like this. But if you have a peanut allergy, feel free to use corn oil or canola oil or any other vegetable oil that you like. This is one time I don't recommend olive oil. It just has a little too much flavor, and I don't want it to interfere with all those other flavors I added. So I can see, just looking at it, you can kind of see it getting brown along the edges. So I'm going to flip this over. It's really beautifully browned. smaller pieces.
That one's really thick.
Leg. All right, so I've finished the initial frying of the chicken, and so now I'm just going to cover my baking sheet or my baking pan with foil. It's a big pan, it's a lot of chicken. And I'm going to put this in my preheated 400-degree oven for 20 minutes. So we'll meet you back here in 20. Woohoo! All right, chicken's all done. We've let it rest for about 5 minutes, which was really hard to do.
Really
It
hard to
smells amazing in
It
here.
does.
And so we're gonna dig in and give it a try.
Oh boy. Chicken is moist, tender. You can taste the seasonings. Nice.
Could use a little more crunch.
A little more crunch? How would you get a little more crunch?
Good question. Maybe do a little bit more of that drizzle with the... I'm actually tempted to try baking it on a rack too and see if that doesn't finish. Do that. We'll make that last little tweak.
I like it.
It's really tender though.
I like it. I like the flavor. All the spices just kind of marry together.
I just got really good crunch on that bite.
There you go.
I think a rack would make a big difference because it would elevate it out of the oils. It is good though. Winner?
I think so. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Guys, let us know if you try this recipe or share your favorite recipe for fried chicken.
Finger licking.
In the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy what you see. And until next time when we see you here in my kitchen, ciao!